IH's Scrap can offer your island logistical, technical and organisational support. Before you start, we will send you a metal expert who will answer your questions like, how are various items processed?
Like fridges with this kind of...
No, that's the fridges and light gauge material is all can be pressed together. The reason the cars are normally kept separate is because they do contain tanks and gas cylinders. We normally check them first, but white goods and corrugated iron, flashing, together is not a problem at all.
How much scrap is there on your island?
I think with the overall total of the car bodies, the light gauge material and the heavy steel, in this area you're probably looking at about 265 tonnes. You give or take 20 tonne either way depending on what comes out of the whole job. But it's very mixed, but it's I think the volumes are there.
And from what you've seen on the rest of the island?
Up to 35 tonne of car bodies and light gauge material that's still to be brought in, and probably up to 30 to 40 tonne of heavy material around the workshops and a few other places. So you probably, to be safe, you'd be looking around the 300 to 320 tonne in total for the whole job, I'd say. Yeah.
How to get scrap out of difficult spots?
This is probably a common thing to see around the place. Scrap steel being pushed into land reclamation. It's always hard to get out once it's in there. It'd have to be dragged out with a dozer. It's mingled right through all the rocks here. There is some that's accessible, some of it is buried, but some could be removed. There's probably about 6 to 8 tonne in weight in this piece of equipment. It'd have to be either dragged up by a bulldozer on safe ground to cut, or lifted out with a crane. I don't think there's enough access for a crane, but it can be done.
What to do with metal in your landfill?
In regards to the scrap metal that's lying around, what do you suggest that we can do with it now?
I think the best way would be to access whatever's accessible is to remove it. In the long term, it's going to supply you with a lot more landfill area and create a bit of revenue for your first clean-up program. In your new project, a segregation area for the different types of metal rather than having it mixed through the landfill.
Can the baler be offloaded on your island?
That's 3 metres. Just want to move along a bit further. Okay. It's another 3. That's 10 metres inside, which will accommodate the baler without a problem, providing the width is okay. The height's obviously, it's open, so we won't have trouble with the height. So if we can just get a measurement along the front. We have 3 metres inside measurement, which will be okay. It should fit.
Do you have the infrastructure and all the equipment you need?
We have a 30-tonne mobile crane, which is out at the moment in one of the projects, and a hired mounted Isuzu truck, 8 wheel, 12 wheel?
Yeah, 12 wheel.
Yeah, and a Mack transporter low loader truck on the other side there, and 3 forklifts, one 10-tonne, one 6-tonne, and that CB ex-Army, ex-US Navy little 3-tonne capacity.
Prime mover, it's just a standard type towing prime mover. What size pin do we have? Turntable pin access?
That I can't tell you. We've got the low. What do you got?
It'll just be to be able to tow the compactor from the wharf to the site.
You got the turntable.
It's a turntable, yes. Yeah.
I'll have to check on that.
Okay. It should be compatible, but just
most of them are, aren't they, really?
Just the airlines and kingpin sizes are the only issues we have. And providing it'll tow 15 tonne up at the from the wharf area.
Do you have all you need to oxycut?
We only got that type cutting equipment at the moment.
Just the oxyacetylene. Long.
Do you use acetylene or handy gas?
We've got the propane. We can use propane.
Yeah, propane is probably more efficient and a lot hotter cutting flame for doing chassis and things in that manner. Yeah.
We got the tips. What are the tips?
But I think we need extended cutting
handle.
Yeah.
Yeah, Harris.
So you know.
The Harris torch probably about 4 foot long. They're a lot easier to work with.
Yeah.
Yep.
Will that do for
That will do. It'll do the work.
Will that do the job?
It'll do the job without a problem. But using acetylene compared to handy gas is a lot more expensive. Handy gas you can bring a large cylinder over and probably outrun the life of that bottle by 10 times, and could half of the price.
How long does it take to oxycut something?
We have 3 different. These consist of 3 different metals. We've got the light gauge body. We have the heavy steel chassis and diffs and springs, and we also have a cast iron engine. So the cab would have to be removed off of the chassis, then the chassis cut into probably 4 pieces to 5 pieces of this length, and the springs taken off and the axles cut in half. So there'd be a good 3 to 4 hours work to process that ready for taking off of the island. A complete container would take approximately an hour to cut down for transport. Over the gauge.
How long will the operation take?
But it can.
And how much baling do you think is involved?
He'd have about 12 days baling, 12 days solid baling, and he could then concentrate on maybe cutting up some of the heavy material with oxy and a general final cleanup, I suppose, to pick up all the small material.